All right. So,
The only one. Okay, just one minute. Will we ask you to go? Yes.
I don't need this. अब आप ये ले जाइए और यहाँ वापस नहीं आएंगे.
You have already given us the ID and password.
क्या बोला उन्हें?
Just one second. All right. I think we have to put this on mute. Yeah.
Mic connect to cordless mic. So that mic is on. Hello, check.
Switch off all other. Okay, who has got Arun's computer?
Correct.
Okay, so can you please take charge of admitting people?
Sure.
So that I don't have to keep admitting people. All right, so.
Participants.
You are already रख लीजिए ना अपने पास में, since you are more familiar.
नहीं कोई
Places change.
No,
आएगा.
Now, enable waiting room. Yeah.
All right.
That's
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very welcome to the session today. And the topic today is the global risks. You can't hear me? Can hear me. So that's, I think, okay. So the global risk and the probable impact on shipping. So when we talk about global risks, it's something which is quite a wide subject. I don't know how many people listened to or attended the World Economic Forum in Davos. Can you raise your hand? Anyone who has been following Davos, World Economic Forum, or has read the recent report on the Global Risk 2024? If not, I would request you to please read it, and I'm going to circulate it to all the people who are attending here, because some of the slides which you will see here, the pictures I have taken from there. And since we are a little bit late, so I'm going to go very, very quickly. If you see, that's even though I'm not an LLM or LLB, but I'm an arbitrator, so I have a duty to give a legal disclaimer. So after listening to whatever you are listening to me and my panelist here, and if you make money, positively we'll give you our account number. Yeah, each one of us will give you our account number. But if you lose money, it means you didn't pay attention here. And the other thing is possibly you did not do your homework. So that's what the disclaimer basically means. So a little bit about myself. I will not spend too much time. The screen, it's all written there. I have been involved in the industry less than many of you, but God has been, Vaheguru has been kind to make me more like a dried leaf which was thrown on top of a flowing river, and wherever the river went, that leaf went along with that river, and that river is maritime industry. So in various parts of shipping that I worked in, including little bit working in the ports as well as chartering, technical management, sailing on board the ships, ship finance, dispute resolution, derivatives, buying and selling paper, and a bit of pricing the options and things like that. There is no credit for me in that. It's just that, and I never changed too many companies to do what I did. I had worked only in two companies, KC Maritime for 17 years and Noble Chartering for almost 10 years. So within the company, the jobs kept on changing without me leaving the previous job. Whenever I went to my boss, I want to do this. Karo, you can do that. No problem. You'll get one salary. Only once. Yeah. But then you can start at 7 and finish at 11 in the night. So that's okay. So that was fine for me as far as learning was concerned. And because of that, then I'm a member of a number of institutions, institutes, organizations, and that does help me expand my horizon as well as contribute to my industry, which I love so very much. And all that helps me to interact with my students, learn from them. I never use the word teach, learn from them, because it's always interactive, like we are going to learn from you today. Now, coming to the topic here, I'm not still introducing my panelists. First, we'll go through few slides and then we'll come to the panelists. Now, in this session, we are going to look at a little bit on the geopolitical, bit on the geoeconomical. This you may have heard for the first time, the word geoeconomical. In the recent World Economic Forum, I heard it for the first time, geoeconomical, from Geeta Gopinath as well as Miss Sadia. Sadia is the managing director of it's the World Economic Forum, and Geeta Gopinath is the managing director of International Monetary Fund. Amazing ladies, both from South Asia, and they do us proud. Then the interstate wars, we are going to talk about it. Some of my panelists here, they are going to expand on that. And then there is unprecedented population voting in 1 year. Few have already voted, right? Pakistan, they have already voted. Taiwan, they have already voted. India, they are going to vote. And there's like 49% of the global population is going to vote this year, in addition to what has been, including what has been voted. All right. What's the global population today? Anyone from there?
About 8 billion.
About 8 billion, right? It's quite a lot. And by 2037, how many will be? If we continue at the same rate? It's about 9 billion. And by 2050, it would be 10 billion. Okay. And is there enough food still on Earth, water still on Earth to feed so many mouths, and resources to make the dreams come true of all these people? I don't think so. The basic needs, yes, but the greed, no. So there is sufficient to satisfy the need, but not to satisfy the greed. That is something important. Then we are going to look at the changing trading patterns, which will result out of all these risk factors, the global risk factors, then something that people normally say, oh, shipping, look at that funnel. It's too much of smoke coming. Shipping, these are the dirty people who make the entire world with so much of pollution. Sorry, we are the least polluting industry, transport industry in the world. If you look at per nautical mile per ton, we are the most efficient and the least polluting industry. But yet, being a responsible industry, we are working proactively this time. Why I say this time? We are not depending on all these Titanic or Exxon Valdez and all these to make the new regulations. This time we are making these regulations because we want to make those regulations. Yeah, these 2050, etc., all that what we are doing. The other thing, which is the misinformation and disinformation, that environment which is being created thanks to AI and other things, that is extremely, extremely dangerous. Rather, as far as the WEF is concerned and the Global Risk 2024 is concerned, in the coming 2 years, including this year, misinformation and disinformation is right on top, is the risk number 1. That is how important it is. If we brainwash people, if we start telling them lies again and again and again, and that is going to make us believe those lies, and that is what is going to create loads of problems, right? It is going to make us think in a very negative direction. And that's the anti-social and anti-national agenda. I'm not talking about a particular country here. It's for different countries. Everywhere we'll have this problem. And in this session today, we are not going to discuss some of the things. Number one is we are not going to talk about politicians or politics, including Kisan Andolan. We are not going to talk about the North-South divide, East, Northeast, and West divides. And we are not going to talk about the civilizational issues. When I say civilizational issues, they are very close to my heart, all three of them, very, very close to my heart. But we are not going to talk about Ayodhya, Kashi, Mathura, etc. And we are not going to talk about the forthcoming elections in India. So we'll keep this away. Yeah. Now, the Earth systems, very quickly, I'll take you through the Earth system before I come to my panelist. The atmosphere. So this part of the Earth system includes the mixture of gases that surround the planet. And that is where you will see that UV rays, they come in because the ozone layer is being depleted, all those problems that are occurring. Then the biosphere, where we are all living in, that's part of the Earth system, includes living beings, plants, animals, which includes humans. I think we are the worst animals if we look at the way we behave, and other organisms. Then is the geosphere. This means it includes the crust and the mantle and the inner and outer core of the Earth, if you see that picture there. Then comes the hydrosphere. That is where your blue economy comes in. Yeah, so very important. The health of the oceans is so very important. So just to share with you, on 2nd of February this year, I spoke at the Indian Maritime University's International Conference in Bombay. And that was about the coastal communities, their welfare. And we invited people from all over the world, and they came and they talked about it. And our own Captain Kapil Dev, Captain Behel spoke so well, and he actually won the prize for the best paper which was being presented. Can we have a round of applause for our own Captain Kapil Behel? Now, translating the same thing into this particular picture, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, Ozone depletion, I already talked about. Climate change, which results in, somewhere I was reading the amount of billions of tons of ice which has melted uh, from both sides of our Earth, the poles, and the effect it is going to have. All right. The ocean acidification. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? Not from the panel, but from the people in the audience. What is the meaning of ocean acidification?
That is because of the whatever pollutants are there and then mixes with the sea, they acidify the water, which affects the fisheries, that aquatic life.
Yeah. So where does this, who is the biggest absorber of carbon dioxide?
Plants.
Ocean itself.
Oceans. Oceans, they absorb carbon dioxide, and CO2 plus H2O is H2CO3, which is carbonic acid. So that's another problem, you see. So if you have more, your answer is also correct, sir. But the biggest absorber is of the CO2 is the ocean. And when you talked about the plants, somebody said plants. Yes, I mean, that's so very beautiful. Just imagine if everybody became vegetarian, what will happen? You will grow less, you will raise less cattle. And who is the largest emitter of methane? And if you don't eat that, what are you going to eat? Vegetables. Vegetables are green. And green means photosynthesis. That means converting CO2 into C plus O2. See, two-pronged effect. It's beautiful. But if I say something like that, the people belonging to the lobby of non-vegetarianism, they are going to come and kill me. Anyway, so I never said that. Okay. So let's move ahead on to the risk part. The current risk landscape, extreme weather. These are all the ideas coming from that particular report, the global risk report. Yeah, I have taken that because I found it so interesting. I read the 124 pages and I said, this is something I must speak in various conferences and to my friends and share with you. Then AI generated misinformation and disinformation. All right, that's 53% of the people think. This is all about people. There are like 1,500 people. They came out with all these top class people. They with the researchers, they came out with it. 46% societal and political polarization. This is something which is extremely bad. Forget India. We said we are not going to talk about India, yeah? But maybe we can talk about US a little bit. Just imagine the guy who did what he did on 6th of January 2020 may become the next president. All right. So what effect will that have? Not only on that country, but rest of the world. I've got nothing against him. But the thing is, when we have situations like that, and yet we have people coming back in power after doing what they do, it's quite risky thing. Then the cost of living crisis. That's again a bigger crisis. Now, coming to the global risk, just to give you in the coming 2 years, misinformation and disinformation, as I said, that's the number one problem. What's the difference between misinformation and disinformation? Anyone, including my panelists?
Misinformation is half information.
Can you speak loudly?
Misinformation is half information, which is more dangerous than having no information.
Right. Than having no information. All right. Okay. So you say something, but you want to say something more, but something, and the guy doesn't listen to but something, only listen to the first
What
part.
he wants to catch.
Whatever he wants to
Whatever
catch.
he wants.
And disinformation,
Wrong.
Wrong.
the lies.
Right.
These are all the lies. And the second risk today is the extreme weather events. You can see what is happening in the world. So societal polarization, which is extremely sad the way things are happening. It's not just about our country. Everywhere these things are happening, the societal polarization, cyber insecurity. For us, when we talk about mass, like I'm involved as far as a part of the global met in couple of committees with IMO for the mass. We are looking at various codes which are being formed for the ships without people. And if you're going to do that, the biggest problem is what? Cyber insecurity, right? So you have to do something to secure it. And similarly, you have number of other things, the lack of economic opportunity. AI could be one of the reasons for that. Then the inflation, of course, you have seen what has happened in the past. My panelists are going to talk to you about inflation when Russia-Ukraine happens, when the Strait of Hormuz happens, and when Red Sea happens, what happens to the oil prices and all that. Then involuntary migration. Can someone tell me, please, what is involuntary migration? One is the voluntary migration. What is involuntary migration? Give example of India. Give example of West Bengal. What's happening there? Rohingyas. Yeah. So they are being pushed from there. They are being pushed. They don't want to come, but then there's nothing else, nowhere else to go. So that's the involuntary migration. Then economic downturn, what we saw GFC, 2008, the Lehman Brothers, and then the global financial crisis we had. So that's what it is. Then the pollution. Now, this is the next 2 years. And when you look at, now, these are not facts. Please understand. Whatever I am saying, they are not facts. These are the perceptions that hundreds of researchers are thinking, right? And it's a summary of that. And the same people, when they are looking at little bit longish term for 10 years, then you say, instead of number 2 as the extreme weather events, that becomes number 1. And the misinformation, disinformation goes down to number 5. So like that, these things are happening. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You guys can have, anyone who wants this, send me an email or send an email to Rakesh ji or Arun ji, and you can get the copy of the presentation. All right, including copy of the, it's all available, the Global Risk 2024, it is there. Here I'm going to just touch on 2 or 3 significant sections. All right, let's start with the first one, which is the green one. That's the economic one. Natural resource shortages. Population goes up. Wars happen. What's going to happen to resources? Of course, that's going to be a problem, right? So we'll just leave at one of that. Then you come to environmental, the blue one. The environmental is again a big trouble over there. We all know we are struggling to do. Okay, which company is trying to reach net zero 10 years before the deadline?
Reliance? No.
Global. Musk, they are putting target as 2040. Absolutely amazing. In one of the webinars that I was doing, it was part of the what we call Almanac, the Asian Logistics and Maritime Conference, part of the Hong Kong Maritime Week. So I was moderating a session, and I had Sophie Carlson, who is the COO of Maersk, and then we had Jeremy Nixon, who is ONE, big boss, and like that we had Michael Fitzgerald, the CFO of the OCL. So people like that, they are so much aware of this. They are absolutely taking it as something which has to be done. So it is not only being discussed in the boardrooms, it is happening outside. It has become culture of the various organizations. And Taran, when you mentioned about what your company is doing, and I'm going to ask you that. And I'm so delighted that we are not just talking in the boardrooms. Yes, regarding diversity, we only talk in the boardrooms. Yes, regarding genders, we talk in the boardrooms. Yes, regarding ESG, for the time being, we are talking in the boardrooms, which needs to come out, and hopefully it is coming out. So certain things are still inside the boardrooms, but there are a lot of things which have come out of the boardrooms. I hope nobody kills me tomorrow. Okay, then societal part is quite an important one. If you see the very big red one over there, societal polarization, lack of economic opportunity, all these things, the red ones are quite important. Then technological, there because of this AI and other things, your misinformation, disinformation, all those things are coming in. All right. So with this, I will stop my part. Except, okay, this is the last slide that I'm going to talk about. Something is missing in it. So I would like my friends to tell me what is missing in it. This is dated 2023. So what is missing in this one? What happened later? The Red Sea.
Yeah, the Red Sea.
Yeah, the Red Sea and the Israel and that part. So that part is missing. The 2024 part is missing over here. And that's more important than anything else. Now, let me ask a question to everyone over there. Which one is more important? Russia, Ukraine, from shipping perspective, or the Red Sea? Red Sea. Yeah. Of course, Russia, Ukraine is also important, but not everybody, most of the people seem to have forgotten what Zelensky wants. And now they are looking more at what is happening in this part of the world. Okay. So again, ladies, no ladies here. The bright spot, if you look at the economic downturn 2023, India. Okay, that's not the deep red. Rest everything you will find in 2023, except some of the other ones. Very few are the bright spots. So India is one of the bright spots. Okay, I'm going to leave this part here. And can someone please keep on admitting people?
Already.
Yeah, there is someone waiting there. Okay, now these are the questions to panel and the audience. So let me first introduce my panelists to you. Starting from there, Mr. Taranjot Singh from BW. He's here, of course, in person. I'm sorry, Jaideep is in a meeting with somebody, so he's not here. Mr. Sagar Jaswal. Yeah, Sagar is here. Sagar is from EY. And it's absolutely fantastic to have this young man who is into research and consulting. So it would be very nice to have him. It is very nice to have him.
What is EY?
Ernest & Young. So Captain Prabhat Nigam, you all know. Thank you so much, Prabhat, for coming. Captain Jagdeep Kalon. So we are looking forward to your case studies. Captain Jaideep Singh is not here. All right. And you guys know me. So I'm going to give 5 minutes each to each one of our panelists over here. Jaideep is not here, so we'll leave that. Captain Prabhat Nigam, he has to leave a little bit early. So the broader perspective of global risk or anything that you would like to say. Don't tell that I've covered everything. I haven't.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So, taking clue from what he had mentioned and not repeating what he had said, he spoke about need and greed. That is the basic fundamental thing which is plaguing the entire world today. We have limited needs, but unlimited greed. That is the reason for all the trouble. There is one community which is Europe-based plus America-based. I will not take the name of their community because it has not been proven whether they are doing it. They are trying to run the whole world by strategizing the wars, by strategizing supply of arms, by strategizing dumping of toxic waste in some country. And that example is, all of you know, Somalia, how the pirates came. We had been studying about Somalia. There have been a number of case studies. And for almost last 15 years, I had been following that. And ultimately, I have come to a conclusion. I'll take one case study and then elaborate further. That how this Somalia thing happened. It was a very peaceful country. Like all other African countries, they were mostly dependent on their resources and agriculture and fishing. One smart European country with the backing of US wanted to dump their toxic waste in some African country. They have done in so many countries, but they also chose Somalia. As long as it was inside, not near the coast, nothing happened for almost 20-25 years. But when this chemical leaked out and started coming to sea, as I told you earlier, that this country was agriculture based and fishery based. Agriculture to unka toxic waste se khatam ho gaya. Fishery, when these toxins came, fisheries also sort of just vanished from the Somalian coast. Now the people who were dumping these chemicals, they funded some local netas or warlords, later they became, to dump this. And it was not one person. They were a group of small tribal leaders. After this funding, they also supplied them arms. And they started infighting. If you have seen the movie Blood Diamond, something which was created by Europe in Africa, a similar situation happened. And this I'm talking about somewhere in mid-80s. This thing happened when this chemical started coming out. Has it been reported anywhere? Have you read anywhere in the paper? Is TV says anything? But if you do a research in this, and thanks to AI for that matter, now and also as they call what, dark web, where all these reports come. So with some youngsters' help, I did some research and found out that with facts that these chemicals were dumped over there. अब उसके पास जब खाने को अनाज नहीं है, फिशरी नहीं है, तो उसके पास क्या आर्म्स है? And they were born seafarers because fishery. So now what they are doing to survive? Hijack ships. Now that same country is posting arms also on the ship. ये hijack से बचो. उसी ने इनको हथियार दिए कि तुम hijack करो, और वही country फिर arms करके उसमें भी कमा रही है. So this is the agony of international wars and this thing. And these things go unreported. We read, we see what we see in the newspapers or what we see in the TV. But again, that misinformation and disinformation. Here, half-truths are told and some absolute lies are told to us. There are so many examples in India also. जब प्रेस पहुंच गई तो संदेश खाली दिखने लगा, उससे पहले नहीं दिख रहा था. So these things are there. So in that way, I feel that we are very lucky in staying in a country like India, जिनके आज भी कुछ मूल संस्कार है, जो who has not gone to absolute greed like these other Western countries. That is one part of the story. The other part of the story, as you said, geopolitical and geo-economic shifts. Now, all these geopolitical, geo-economic shifts हो ही इस कारण से रहे. The root cause is this, the greed. Just think about it. Today, what does America manufacture? USA, what do they manufacture? Arms. तो पैसे कैसे कमाएगा? जब लड़ाई होगी आर्म्स बेचेगा तो पैसे कमाएगा. चाहे वो अफगानिस्तान में लड़ाई कराए, इराक में कराए, लिबिया में कराए, wherever. So he will earn only, and because of the war, what will happen? Multiple polarization will happen. Everybody will say, let us be friend with America. तो बच जाएंगे. And this is what Russia is opposing, NATO. Friends with America. So everybody is tilting towards one single power, and that person is becoming more and more, that country is becoming more and more powerful. And greedy. I'll leave the further discussion to somebody else because I can speak hours on this.
No,
Thank you.
since you have to leave, so you can
No, I-
can take few more minutes.
Okay. Okay. The other thing which okay, this is little bit of research was helped with to me by ChatGPT AI, but some changes I have made. Now we spoke about a new thing called geo-economic shift. Now, as per the internet, changes in economic power and influence can alter trade patterns and demand for shipping services. For example, the rise of new economic power of the imposition of economic sanction on certain countries. Latest is Iran. कभी हटा देता है, फिर impose कर देता है, फिर हटा देता है. And today morning only I was hearing the news that inflation in Iran has gone 50 times. Oh my, 50 times. And certain Latin American countries are already gone. Changing trading patterns, as we mentioned, that Red Sea, that Houthi attacks and all that. First of all, I strongly feel that there should be some kind of respect for each nation's integrity, sovereignty. No one nation should feel that I am the international police. Everything is happening wrong in Iran, or everything is happening wrong in North Korea. Otherwise, see what happens when you corner. If you go in front of the lion will kill you and eat you. But if you corner a small cat, that small cat will also retaliate to save its own skin. This is what is happening with some of the countries where, on the name of oil, a more powerful country attacked and killed their leader. What was wrong with Libya? I have been to Libya so many times. Education was free. Medicine was free. Everybody was happy because he was sharing the wealth with the population of Libya. Just because he opposed, no, US dollar nahi, petrodollar. Just because of that. How petrodollar, and there is a full story on that. That still, when China and Russia agreed that, or India agreed that, okay, we will honor ruble instead of America, US dollars, the problem started.
Yes, you see, the reserve currency status of dollar is about to end now.
Yes.
We have started in a phase of a new geoeconomics.
So these things are points to ponder upon. All of you have been ex-seafarers. All of you have seen happy days, good days when there were no such problems out at sea. You all had good time at sea. But now people dread to go out at sea. Because of so many reasons. And
Yeah, so just taking from there, I will go to to person who has been sailing himself. So I'll give you the first question coming from what captains have said. With all this which is happening in Red Sea and all that which we hear about, do you think people in India, the young generation, they are getting more and more away from this career, or
Yes, obviously, sir. Because the new aspirants who are looking to step into the industry, when they are hearing such disturbing news that the pirates or the state-sponsored terrorists are coming with drones and helicopters attacking the ship, who will save us from that? Nobody can save us. Obviously, there is a issue with this, and the families are themselves bringing their childs back. That you don't need to risk your life for this amount of money. You can do something. Obviously, I totally agree that the new aspirants are now going back. They are not encouraging themselves to join ships. And obviously, we will face a shortage of seafarers, which will again impact the global economy in coming years, for sure.
Sorry, you finish it. I've got live examples, my ships, if I can be heard, my ships regularly transit Red Sea. And as per the CP agreement, the seafarers have the right to refuse that they don't want to transit. And it has happened many a times that out of the complement of 22 people, 5 people, 6 people have asked to sign off just before the vessel entered Red Sea. We have facilitated that, but by getting off 5 people, at times we are not achieving the minimum manning also required. So that is also one of the challenges. And as correctly said, people nowadays, Indians or any nationality for that matter, don't want to risk their lives for a conflict which is happening in 2 countries which is not linked to us. So yes, it is the question of the hour now that yes, seafarers are not willing to go via Red Sea, wherein the charterers have also taken a note of it and have started diverting the vessels not through Red Sea, but by Cape of Good Hope. This has increased the voyage length, right? Voyage length has been increased. The transfer of goods is increasing. The tariff goes up. See, the impact is both the ways. The tariff goes up for the same amount of transfer that we need, which was going on before in 7 days. Now it is taking, for example, 14 days. We need more number of ships because the turnaround has increased. More number of ships get employed. So it is not only bad story. It is on the other side also, Yes, but it comes at a cost. And that cost is either passed on to the end user in terms of higher inflation. End user means the last person on the entire logistics chain, the last person who's consuming the goods, that's inflation is passed on to him, or else the supply is totally stopped, right? That is the point I wanted to add. If I'm allowed to speak on the other topics, I might just add on.
please
On the Russian trade, my ships. Okay, sorry.
You said there are more number of ships will be needed. But do
Is
we
there
have the
any
manpower
one
to
more
do
mic?
ships?
We means seafarers of India or seafarers of the globe.
Oh,
Last night I had an interaction with the ship owner. We are ready to hire Ethiopians. So if you are thinking that only I have a fleet of vessels wherein full vessels are being operated by Nigerians, top to bottom. So if you are talking about seafarers, please don't consider yourself as seafarers of India. Okay, seafarers of India, the numbers might go down, but the other nationality seafarers are coming up.
So does the competency matches the Indian seafarer?
So the question is competency. The ship owner says, I don't want smart people. I want my ship to go from port A to port B. That's it. I don't need scientists on board. Follow the procedure. Follow the SMS. Okay. All right. See. So the thing is, see, in Europe also, you will see that Eastern Europeans and the Western Europeans, there is a difference in, competency. In Asia also, there is a difference of competency in various nationalities. I'm talking about Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, right? Major nationalities, sailing nationalities. However, at the end of the day, this is not on the mind of the ship owner. As a seafarer, it's on my mind that I'm better off. But as the ship owner, it's not on his mind. He's looking at your 4 months contract only. Right? So we can discuss on this, but I would like to add upon the Russian conflict that has gone on, right? India has become one of the major consumers of the Russian oil. My ships are picking up oil, Suezmaxes and Aframaxes, picking up oil from Russia and discharging it on the Indian west coast. Right? We transit the Red Sea. The oil is coming to India, and the Europe is not allowing my ships to call Europe for any purpose, for crew change, for emergency crew change. Also, they're not allowing us to come inside European ports, leave alone provisions, stores, spares, that is secondary. For an emergency crew change, wherein a seafarer is having trouble at his home, and the seafarer is not an Indian, seafarer is a Georgian, then also the vessel was not allowed to call Europe. So Europe is trying to play its part that we don't accept vessels trading in Russia, but the trade is still happening. The trade will still happen between the two countries because the exporting country and the importing country both are happy about it. The trade is still going to happen. You can call it illegal, you can call it legal, but the trade is still going to happen.
But the same crude, when processed to product, is going to Europe.
That is the fact of life.
Indirectly, it is ending up.
I'm discharging into a refinery.
Yeah.
Another small tanker is picking up the refined product and then discharging in Europe.
And then Europe is okay for them to accept that.
I will not like to comment on it. I am only trying to comment, restricting myself to the shipping side of it and how the work plays out here. That is what it is.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's so very important. If you want to know more about it, then Mr. Jayashankar's recent,
Yes,
in one of the forums, he is one of those great,
wonderful speakers.
Outspoken.
Wonderful speaker.
yeah, speakers.
One small question.
Sagar,
Question.
yes.
There are some American sanctions. American sanctions are there. How are they affecting that? Could you just guide us?
American, I would say.
It's a very odd question.
That's a geoeconomic shift because of
Yeah,
sanctions.
So there are
Very
European
odd.
sanctions as well. Yeah.
If you can, a little bit,
Sure.
give us an idea, not because, if you can.
I was quoted in a UK magazine, a marine magazine. I was quoted that I have said that yes, my ships are bringing in Russian oil, and I am giving job to my seafarers.
They have narrowed down on that thing and they've
Right.
been.
I would like to quote that. Marine Insights, another magazine has quoted me with my name that this company, this company is employing seafarers who are bringing in oil from Russia. I said, my job is to give employment. I am giving employment to Indian seafarers, wherein the vessels are coming to India and the vessels are accepted in India.
No, then.
Being a third party, you can have a problem, but your problem is stopping there only till the time my government does not tell me to stop. Right? Because I am governed by the rules of this land. Right? You can have your set of rules, but I am going to follow the rules of the government of my country.
Okay, let me try and answer this
Supposing
question.
a shipper.
I can understand your point,
No,
the
okay,
question.
I'll stop it.
Yeah, okay. No, but I'll just add a couple of lines to it. If you're looking at sanctions and it is end to end, it's anyone and everyone in the entire chain should not be sanctioned, right? If you go strictly from that perspective. But what is happening with regards to Russian oil, India, China, there are certain things which are happening, and there are countries which are accepting it, sort of, you can say, because there's no option there. There's no option there. So
I think for an operator or people working in the operations department or sending emails or something, and if they are passing by European countries or going to New York, they're going to have a difficult time if they are directly.
I agree with you. I fully agree with
So,
you.
see, the thing is, because they can't catch the big fish, they're trying to catch the small fish. Understand? Trying to slowly attack the big fish.
Okay.
Situation where people going to Iran,
Huh.
if we had a stamp on the passport,
On the CDC as well. Yes.
CDC as well. I was a bit of jittery to New York or anywhere, I didn't want any stamp from Iran, or I don't want to join or partner there.
Same like Libya.
Something.
Iran and
I
Libya.
want to keep myself clear,
Huh.
that point of view.
Yeah.
People who've got families over that side, they are people who move around.
Okay, now I would like to come to Sagar.
One more question.
Yeah,
Buying oil, India buying oil from Russia, is it illegal or unethical?
is it illegal or?
Unethical. Neither illegal nor
No, no,
unethical.
no.
Neither.
Acha, आप answer दीजिए. This is a big, this is Pandora's box now. He's opened.
See, now I'm going to leave this for Sagar to answer. Yeah, and not directly. I'm sure that he is going to reframe or articulate it in a very beautiful way, being from EI. So EY, so he's not going to give you the straight answer that you want. He's going to reply to you like Jai Shankar does. Okay. Now, coming to the impact of Red Sea crisis, yeah, which is not territorial. If you look at the Russian and Ukrainian war, it's more like territorial. It's limited in that particular area. But the Red Sea crisis could be a major problem. It could be a serious, very serious issue if it expands. So there is an expansion danger. There is going to be impact on the oil prices. If Iran gets further involved in it, then the Hormuz Strait, yeah, not just the Red Sea, but also the Arabian Sea, you can have problems. So, Sagar, any thoughts about what all these shippies, all these shipping guys have been talking? So, since you have been helping various shipping companies and understand the trading patterns, take that into account. And also, how do we de-escalate and how it can be de-escalated, the Red Sea? Or rather, I should ask you another question along with that. Is it easy to de-escalate the Red Sea crisis, or is it easy to de-escalate the Russian-Ukraine war?
Well, that's a very challenging question. Talking about the Red Sea, right? A lot of things are already happening in terms of de-escalation. You might have heard that US has sent in some international marine forces and also got together 20 other countries to try to help a lot of these carrier ships going through that Red Sea. So a lot of missile attacks are happening, a lot of drone attacks are happening. So US is trying to curb the situation. However, is it enough? We cannot say at this point in time, because I'll give you an example. The Houthis, with all the weapons that they have, all the high-tech weapons that have been given to them by Iran, so they are able to use it, and those are very inexpensive, say $10,000 comparatively. US, to be able to counter those missiles, is using $4 million anti-missiles per missile, and they have already fired 100 missiles. $400 million already spent on just trying to help cargo ships go through Red Sea. So, is what US is doing, is it feasible in the long term? We cannot say, unless many countries come in and help all of these cargo ships go through there. Because as everybody said here, if you have to, instead of the Red Sea, you go across South Africa, that increases the cost of $1 million per ship. And that cost trickles down to each of us. Almost a lot of things that we use are shipped in, right? So even if not right now, but gradually we will see increase in costs, especially Europe is already seeing a lot of increase in costs. And with respect to oil, as Sir has said, Strait of Hormuz, if Iran thinks about blocking that path for some reason, a lot of countries are dependent on Middle East, right? And if that path is blocked, the supply is less, the demand is more. Automatically, you're going to see a skyrocketing of prices. And Canada is already in the brink of a lot of recession. A lot of other countries are also. So India, I would like to say that because it has cordial relations with Russia and is able to use the oil that Russia exports, India may not get to that extent at this point in time. But if this war happens for a long time, and I hope it doesn't, if it happens for a long time, then we will definitely see increase in costs
Worldwide.
in worldwide. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I just want to know, like, what is the role of China in this? Like, we talk of Ukraine and always US and all that, no? US
Sure.
are all.
Sure.
So how because China is a very, very, powerful partner to all this
Right, sir.
crisis, I would say. So what do you think is the role of China and how it affects our economy? Like, we are now fifth largest economy.
Right.
And we are going to become like third. We claim that, but I think the way you are tapping it will not be there. I mean, it's very challenging.
Right.
So would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, China right now has not been talking much about stopping this war. They are silent mostly at this point in time, and which is surprising because 60% of all the export from China goes through Red Sea. 60%. So, in spite of that, they are silent because China usually tries to not interfere in such global issues. But we have seen, I mean, it's been said on the news as well that since US is helping, cargo ships go through Red Sea, there are a lot of Chinese ships also going through there. But China is not sending in their troops. They are trying to be silent. But if this happens for a long
That means
time,
China has a choice to be silent.
they are being silent
But
basically.
that won't be long for long time.
Not for long, exactly, sir. So what I'm trying to
China-
say is if it happens,
China is basically trying to take over the South China behind this.
Taiwan, China, South
Behind
China
this
Sea.
war, they are trying to take over the South China territory, South China Sea territory, and completely fortifying it with all their naval vessels and everything. And that is why they are not coming in front to be highlighted in this war.
They are
And-
looking behind the scenes, I guess. No?
and
I think our topic is getting hijacked. Topic is getting hijacked. So what I will do is I'll try and bring it back. I will try and bring it back on track. Okay. Let's move away from this part and come back to oil.
sure.
Why is it that US is not so much interested in Middle East nowadays?
They have their own stockpile.
What is it?
Shale gas.
Okay.
Reserves of gas.
They have their own stockpile.
Is it
Majority
stockpile or
of
it's
the-
it's a
It's in
regular?
tanks. No, it's in reserve farms. It is known as oil farms. But it is also a limited quantity as compared to the consumption of the entire US, right? Somebody mentioned shale gas. Shale gas production cost is very high as compared to the normal crude oil, right? So as the crude oil prices go up and it becomes equivalent to or more than the shale gas projects become economical. At the moment, shale gas projects are all not economical because of the lower price of crude oil. But it is in the interest that, yes, they want to take out the gas from the rocks, that is, and they want to fracture the rocks and take out shale gas. That's the whole idea. And presently, they are sitting on a lot of oil, which untapped oil in US, oil farms, and they know there is South America to pick up, Libya to pick up oil too. They have the reserves. So at the moment, they don't want to engage in full-term war either way. They just want to play a supporting role at home.
Plus,
They're more interested
plus-
in selling their arms rather than
Absolutely.
taking
plus
the oil.
US is
They want war to happen.
major exporter of butane and propane at present. All the European Union is being transported butane and propane from US only. Every single day, every vessel is loading and transporting it to Europe.
Okay, you see, before this thing started, sir,
NISC had 2021 LNGs, LPGs.
All
So,
BW,
that's a big
MISC,
one there,
maybe Ocean One.
Okay.
can you
Also,
pass?
all these are vessels are going to loading from US and discharging in Europe. Europe, the prices of gases have curbed down because they have so much stock because US has provided them ample amount of butane and propane for their winter reserve. So the prices have even gone down in Europe. So this is basically they wanted to fight with Russia. that if you are not supplying gas to Europe, we are there, we have our reserves, and they are earning a lot. One day chartering for our vessel, as I remember, was $1 lakh.
No, that's what about Japan and that side, feeding that side?
Even Japan is getting
That's right.
loading
They are
from
feeding,
US only.
Pacific.
Yeah,
Pacific,
same through Pacific. Even Japan, Korea,
Got that.
even some Middle East countries also, they are getting all the gas from US.
Qatar thing is going on.
Qatar is the major exporter. They cannot
Qatar
be
from there
put
to
down.
Dubai.
Yes, sir.
Japan has started reviving the nuclear plants again. So they have forgotten the Fukushima and
they have got north field west side. So that is a new area. So they want to by 2030.
Can you use the mic? Mic is there.
They want to increase the production double by 2030. So
Yeah, please use the mic. Yeah.
I'm working with Milaha
Mhm.
in Qatar. So in Qatar, we are working only for gas related fields for offshore basically. So in that, by 2030, they want to develop the capacity for all the gas, and they have big plans. They have already signed agreements with all the LNG carriers and with all the big players, and all the long-term contracts are already being signed, including China, India. India has a very good relation, and they are getting gas at a very cheaper rates as compared to other nations. Modi is doing a great thing.
Milan.
Yeah. Let's not say Modi ji. Let's say the Prime Minister of India. Prime Minister of India. Yeah. We decided not to name.
Let's say
Huh?
India.
So okay, but I broke the rule by saying Jai Shankar. Okay, the foreign minister. Okay, the first line on top there is and that's for Sagar, the certainty about uncertainty. You see, something that he had started saying, but I think somewhere he stopped, but I'm going to instigate him a little bit again. Now, everything was looking good. And this gentleman mentioned about China. Things were looking good. China was involved in bringing Saudi Arabia and Iran together. You know, they were coming together, and something which had never happened before. And that was something fantastic, which could have happened. But what happened after that? 6th of October. Yeah, last year. And after 6th of October, we all know what is happening. Then the Hezbollah comes in. Yeah, the Hamas is there, the Hezbollah comes in, the Houthis come in, and then the 2 aircraft carriers are there, UK gets involved. The whole thing is getting more and more troublesome. So, any comments on that, Sagar?
Sure, sir. So I just say that this situation started off with I would say a local escalation between 2 states, and now it has become a global issue for all of us. And I believe that de-escalation is very important on this issue, and it's no longer just an issue between 2 states or 2 countries. So because of which, as I was saying, that the US has started putting in some effort towards that end to try to ensure that the Red Sea path is not stopped, right? And if that is done, it's going to be a major economic shutdown in a lot of countries. So we do not want that to happen. So right now, we are seeing a lot of countries getting involved, UK, the US, Canada. But what we do need to do is have some kind of a political discussion or a diplomatic discussion between these 2 states. Saudi has already started. They had already started a discussion between these 2 states, asking them to cease fire in Gaza, as well as stop all of these attacks that are happening on cargo ships across the world, like not just cargo ships from Israel, right? It's cargo ships, Indian cargo ships are being attacked. For what reason? It's not our fault, right? We did not instigate anything. So it's become a global issue now. So, and it is important that. Yes, sir.
How does Egypt view this war? how does Egypt look at this war between Israel and Hamas? And how is it impacting their economy? Because Suez is so important for shipping and for their revenues.
So, yeah, as my panelists were also saying, the Suez Canal is, a huge source of economy for Egypt, right? So, at this point in time, their main motto would be if Red Sea disruption happens, it's going to be an issue, right? For
Sorry?
if the disruption in the Red Sea pathway happens, it's going to be an issue because Suez Canal sees 15% of the global trade, the passage every single day, 15%, which is a huge amount. So if that disruption happens through Red Sea, and that has happened, 7 out of the 10 major shipping companies, including Maersk and Hapag, they have stopped going through Red Sea because they do not want their sailors to be affected by this. But the local or the smaller ships are still going through there. So I would say that Egypt, I cannot comment, but I would like to believe that they would not want the Red Sea to be disrupted because it is their whole source of economy in the end. The Suez Canal is a huge source of economy, and in the recent years, there has been a major increase in the global trade, as we all know, right? So Egypt, I would say, would want this to end, and that is why they are not partaking in this much at this point in time.
We also have a
Thanks.
border with Gaza, no? Egypt, so they might be interested from that point of view also.
Absolutely, yeah.
Maintain a small border with Gaza.
Right.
I would like to add a small point here.
Yes.
Houthi and Yemenis and this area, we used to transit quite regularly, Hodeida and all, Hodeida and all these ports, we used to go regularly, discharge. They never had anything to give, but we used to discharge over there, getting it from US. Big machinery, boilers, 100 tons, big. We used to discharge from Houston, getting it from Houston, discharging it. We got to know, like I was personally there and I got to know many people over there, incidentally sailing with us also. And surprisingly, they are firing missiles at this stage. It's very odd because how they have learned how to fire missiles, there's something wrong over there. Houthis and all, they were not very trained to do all this. There's something else over there.
Luckily, they
I'll-
are getting
There's
all
something
the-
else over there.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably Iran or Chinese or somebody sitting right down, sitting duck is there.
Iranian.
I think
No,
it's,
somebody, Iranians
Iran.
also.
there's a lot of evidence to
Actually, I
There's
put,
some sitting duck over there.
sir, I put there, if you say Sagar, comma,
Yes, sir.
forces behind the proxy war.
Yes, sir.
So now thank you for bringing that up. And now let's
Proxy war.
ask Sagar to start with that proxy war. Who is
Yeah, it's a
behind
big
whom?
question mark, big question mark here.
It's a big question.
I
Um,
thought,
So I think a lot of people believe that Iranians have been very closely linked with the Houthis. I would want to add that Houthis were looking for a sort of recognition. This seems to be the case, but that would not have been possible without all of the arms and ammunition, the high-tech arms and ammunition that Iran, had been giving to Houthis in the last 10 years. It wouldn't have been possible because right now the US is facing difficulties in safeguarding their own ships, the US Navy ships. How could that happen without the help of another, great superpower that has huge technological advancement in terms of weapons? It wouldn't have been possible. So there is a lot of talks where the Iranian military is not just providing military weapons, they are also training the Houthis to perform these complex operations on the Red Sea, on the Bab el-Mandeb. And that is the reason that they have become so advanced. And the US Navy is no longer believing that it is a small threat. They know that it's a huge threat to them. There are 7,000 US Navy US Navy sailors currently in the Red Sea. So, I mean, they have taken it seriously, and I think they're still facing issues. So, definitely there is some proxy happening here. And the reason could be that the Middle East has always been, not always, but recently has a lot of instability. And the two major superpowers there, Saudi and Iran, have always looked for that, the recognition of the global superpower from Middle East. And last year, Saudi and Iran also signed, or I would say, a peace deal last year. So that is why Saudi has not become a part of one of those 20 peace countries that are helping in the Red Sea. But yes, Saudi and Iran have always been a part of this discussion. I think if Iran ends up, gaining some more power, it would help it to be one of those, Middle Eastern powers that is taking care of a lot of the trade that's happening. It has a lot of power in its hand because of the Strait of Hormuz already. So this Red Sea could be another factor that.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to exercise my veto right as the permanent member of UN Security Council. Okay, now since we are running out of time, I would like all of us, including the audience here and my panelist here, impact on the Indian economy. You see, the Russia-Ukraine, the issues that happened with regards to grain, then India stopped exporting grain because we had to take care of our own people. Then we are making use of the cheaper Russian oil. Now this particular issue has started. The oil prices might go up. So many things are happening. So let me ask first the audience, especially those people who haven't spoken as yet. What do you think would be the impact on Indian economy short term?
So I'll just give me a moment, that's all. I won't disturb anybody more than this. Now the capital of Yemen, Sana'a, has got a lot of Indians. Mind you, if it escalates slightly, we'll have to send planes and get people here for stuff.
Chalo, I'll convey that to Mr. Jaishankar.
Yes.
Okay.
It's already there.
Okay.
But a
Now,
lot of Indians are staying there.
now I
That's the
fully
percentage.
understand. So that's out of subject,
Get people out from
out
there.
of syllabus right now. Okay. It's out of syllabus. Okay. So what is the impact on the Indian economy, the short-term impact with all this? One, he has mentioned already, those people will have to be taken out. What else on the economy part?
Short-term impact is always good, cheaper oil. Not cheaper oil, I mean, it will not help reduce the inflation, it will help contain the inflation. The numbers are clearly seen in the Q3 figures for India, GDP figures. We have grown quarter on quarter 8.3%, highest in the last 5-10 years. No? 8.4%, sorry. So that is because of reduced inflation, and the cheaper imports will always help. But the long-term impact will be the relationships with the other countries, the powerful countries, how they shape up, and for how long will this continue? Will they overlook this? That will the stronger countries keep overlooking this? That we are getting cheaper oil from some other country? I mean, how long they can overlook this? This will be in the long term, but short term, yes, it is definitely helping us.
I think the way the foreign policy has been building up in the last few years is very, very important for the Indian economy. There have been repercussions, there have been effects, but then you don't see much because of the deft handling by the government. The way they have handled the whole crisis thing, the way they went out of the way to talk to Russia to get the price, the low price oil, and the other things also, commodities also. We've never felt the pinch yet.
Yes.
So short term has been, I think, I would say, not that bad. But medium term and long term, how long this port would be hold?
Yes, sir.
It all depends on how the government again deals with the other country.
Yeah, I think the way I think the way the foreign minister, give me a few seconds. Like the foreign minister, he spoke on the stage to a journalist. He said, "You should be actually congratulating me for handling it the way I have handled it."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So he mentioned that.
Again, I'll implore the audience, look at the bigger picture. बहुत सिंपल सी चीज सोचिए, अगर आप किसी से उधार पैसे लेते हो, कब तक मौज करोगे जब तक वो पैसा वापस नहीं मांगेगा? इज इंडिया अंडर डेब्ट और नॉट? हैज इंडिया borrowed money from IMF or not?
So can I counter question on that? Has India ever been out of debt? Has India ever
No,
been in a
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. वो आप ये जो है ना, ये मिथ्या है कि शॉर्ट टर्म बहुत अच्छा है, प्राइस कम हो रही है, और the people from whom we have borrowed money, anytime they can twist around. So it is best, as soon as you get rid of your debt, become self-reliant, make in India, stop depending on the people, improve your export, start earning, and make Indian Merchant Navy a good backbone for our industry. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to come to EY on that.
Yes.
Is the Indian debt percentage GDP wise is more or the US?
Are you talking of internal or external debt?
Internal and external.
Well, the US is more, I would say, but again,
Payment capacity also matters.
yeah. So India's is lesser, definitely. It's just that, as Sir is saying, we're trying to safeguard ourselves in this situation. So yeah, I do understand where he's coming from, but yes, compared to the US, it's much less.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, but
about
what you see is not correct.
misinformation?
Yeah,
Who has
Yes.
Information, sir.
US has taken debt from whom? किससे? अपने आप से, अपने आप से, और दिखा रहा है कि मेरे को बहुत कर्जा है नहीं कुछ।
अच्छा, तरन।
इंडिया का है नहीं कर्जा सर?
नहीं, US वो खुद से कर्जा लेके दिखा रहा है वर्ल्ड को कि मैं कर्जे में हूँ।
अच्छा, तरन, we decided on the second slide we will not talk politics. Okay.
Question to him, please.
Taran,
Question for me?
same. The effect short term, medium term, long term.
I believe that India will only gain in a longer term from this thing. They will have no adverse effects. We will be self-sustainable. We will grow our economy. And as Sir said, that maybe the powerful countries will mind. I believe that in longer term, India might emerge as a more powerful country than
अगर ऐसे जवान हों और ऐसे विचार हों तो प्रगति के पथ पर इसी तरह हम अग्रसर होते रहेंगे और चरमोत्कर्ष तक पहुंचेंगे, चरमोत्कर्ष तक पहुंचेंगे।
ज्यादातर जवान तो कनाडा और अमेरिका
कनाडा चलेंगे, ऑस्ट्रेलिया और कनाडा चलेंगे।
ओके, वापस आ रहे हैं। ओके, नाउ हाँ जी, वन क्वेश्चन।
The diversification of power, I mean, like in electric, solar power and all the other powers which we are doing in hydrogen, that is going to help and reduce our dependency on oil imports.
Absolutely.
It'll take time, but
Sir,
But one thing,
quite tempted to again, because मेरा view थोड़ा सा इस पे skewed है. Do you remember a car called Rover 2000?
Yes.
When was it?
In 80s, sometime.
In 80s. We were fully technically sound and skilled to make an electric car 50 years ago. तो क्यों नहीं चली? क्यों नहीं चली वो? No. Because the people who had oil did not want that car to run. They wanted to sell the fossil fuel. 50 साल पहले हमारे पास टेक्नोलॉजी थी, लेकिन वो फॉसिल फ्यूल बेचना चाहते थे।
I have a request. Are we okay for 15 more minutes?
yes,
sir.
Perfectly fine. So I will add on to
एग्जांपल देता हूँ। आप लोग को याद होगा, पहले हम लोग कैसेट चलाते थे, उसके बाद क्या चलाया हमने? सीडी चलाया, फिर आया डीवीडी। अमेरिका में सीडी कभी नहीं आया, कैसेट से सीधे डीवीडी आया। पूरे वर्ल्ड को उसने सीडी किया because they had invested in making that CD. The whole world was using CD, whereas America straight away from cassettes came into DVD. So there are people who are there. जैसे शुरू में मैंने कहा, there is one community who are trying to run the world, strategize, influence our mind, make us think that ये हमारे साथ गलत कर रहा है, make us think that इसके साथ लड़ो, इसके साथ ये करो. ये पूरा एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी है, बहुत बड़ी कॉन्स्पिरेसी है. Yes, a बहुत बड़ी कॉन्स्पिरेसी है. And sooner we realize that some of our politicians are realizing, some of our politicians are going to China and shaking hands with them and signing MOUs. Some of our politicians are where they are realizing they are being proactive.
Captain Nigam.
And I am not taking the names.
No politics.
No, but
because
affects us,
somebody might say that whatever you're saying could also be part of the misinformation, disinformation.
The whole thing
Okay.
is affecting us.
Okay.
Geopolitical आप बोल रहे हो.
Whatever he mentioned, I'll also give one more example there. See, when we are talking about nuclear power, SMRs, small modular reactors, I think that's the way forward, provided we can bring the cost down, provided we can have the safety measures, and provided we can have the thorium small modular reactors. Can anyone tell me what's the percentage of global thorium reserves in India?
I think the maximum.
It's in Kerala, and it's quite high. I don't.
28% of the global thorium reserves in India. And if we are able to use that, and we can make those small modular reactors, and thorium is far safer, much safe compared to the uranium isotopes.
In fact,
So,
it was the dream project of Dr. Homi Bhabha.
yes. So again, the same thing which Captain Nigam mentioned. Maybe it's a particular lobby which is not allowing us to do it, or maybe we are not having those prototypes and doing something on that. Okay, now coming to
Thorium, sir, I will please.
Sorry,
एक चीज थोरियम का बताता हूँ. अभी recently नहीं, about 3 years back, I was in that area, Kalpakkam area, and one of friends, कोई उनके relative, वो हम लोग को विजिट कराने के लिए ले गए उधर, कोई heavy water वाला वो है. And there, you know what I came to know? Perhaps it was there in the newspaper, but very silently and suddenly the news came on. There was biggest, best research happening over there in Kalpakkam on thorium, and they had made, and the scientists who had made them, there were a group of 3 scientists, maybe ex-IIT or Indian School of Sciences, in their late 30s, early 40s. All 3 of them were murdered.
Yes.
All, because they're living, all 3 of them were murdered, and they don't know who murdered them. Perhaps there was also one movie made on this.
So there is a movie called Rocket Boys. It is on Sony Live or something.
Baba also
see
said-
that serial. It's a serial.
Yes.
Episode 1 and I think
And this is, I'm talking about in this century. After, in this millennium, these 3 scientists were killed.
Yes.
Suddenly, what happened? Nobody knows.
Okay, now we'll end it at with a good note. Yeah. So first, of course, these 5 points are very dangerous that we see on the screen, right? The misinformation, disinformation, extreme weather, societal polarization, cyber insecurity, interstate conflict. But what is it that we should do or we can do? Yeah, what is it? What can we do? We just need to do our part, right? That is what it is. When we say karmane vadhikarahate ma phaleshu kadachana, we just need to do our part. Okay, that's so very important. And there's a lot of other things which are not under our control. So we might as well, we are not going to find solutions to all those, the global risks that we talked about. You think we can find solutions there? No, we cannot. We can think about it, but we need to do things which are under our control. But the problem is what is in our control and what is not in our control. For that, we need that wisdom. We need to have that wisdom to be able to decide that. All right. So these are the few things which I have written a number of articles on. Let me share with you. What can we do? We take less and contribute more from the earth. The minimization or minimalistic living. Yeah, we take less and contribute more. We find ways and implement them to reverse the damage we have caused to the environment from the unbridled growth of the last 100 years. Every small thing is important. Even now, when I go to the market, I see people are using those plastic thalis. Why? What's the point? मेरी बीवी के बैग में एक छोटा सा बैग होता है which is very nicely folded. She just opens it, puts things in it, घर लाके खाली करके that goes back into her bag. Why can't we have that? Why do we need this plastic stuff? We seriously take note of the finite resources and their irresponsible exploitation and do something about it. I think we really need to look at it. Lighte band karna, AC band karna, all that. And we consider abundance a taboo and frugality a virtue. We used to say why Captain Vanderveer takes the bus to go from one ship owner to the other ship owner. He never took the taxi. And even if he took a taxi, he will walk till the red light because he says, if I take the taxi here, the guy is going to stand there and that much extra money I'm going to pay. It's simple common sense, right? And we consider abundance taboo and frugality a virtue. Then the last slide.
He was not paying the ship staff also.
वो गलत बात है. वो गलत बात है. And then we provide opportunities to everyone, including our challenged fellow beings, irrespective of caste, creed, faith, gender, orientation, and affiliations. And then it should become part of our nature to minimize waste generation, avoid use of plastics, close the taps after use, repairing the leaky ones, switching off the lights, aircon, fans, heaters when not required. And finally, we as humans learn to respect one another, have empathy, duty of care, and do our kartavya first before claiming our rights. ਅਸੀਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਮੇਰਾ तो अधिकार है ये. No, मेरा कर्तव्य है ये पहले. We need to look at what our duties are first and then we talk about our rights. I think with that, I would like to thank my panelists and each one of you. And of course, to IEI for helping us, MNOA, IMEI, as well as CMMI. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to end this? Yeah.